Because I did it this morning. One of the most important tricks that you need to be able to play on PC99 is sending a TI disk over.
That's all I want to do.
Well, let's just shut everything down. See if the cable is anything out. Of course, again, it helps if I turn the P-box on. Okay, now it's sitting there. Right sector.
I think it's a serial port. There's no story on this. Yeah, I probably need, let's use one sheet.
Okay.
So we officially started now?
Yeah, the videotape has been running.
Videotape is running. Okay. For those who don't know me, my name is Mike Wright. With CAD Electronics, we make this product called PC99. PC99 is an emulator that runs on PC and lets you run all known TI programs will execute on the PC.
Now, right.
And they do anything else.
You pull the cable without.
I want to talk. I want this to be like a little bit of a different forum and stuff today because we need a little bit of feedback from. I know some of you here are already users, and we have a small procedural problem that we'd like to sort of like solve and get rid of. That is that I guess you all know that we are not full-time programmers working on this project. It's like this is not our living or not our job. And some people have like real lives to get on with and commitments and things to do. And we are trying to release the next generation version of this product. And this version has a whole lot of useful features that we think useful features that will do things that are cool for TI people. But we also like to release what we consider to be good code and code that is being tested and code that has sort of stood the test of time. And we have some portions of the code which I want certain things added to make this code better. And the person in charge of doing this, or the person assigned to do this stuff, in fact the only one of the three of us that can actually do this stuff because it's really complex coding, has been snowed under at work and just can't get this stuff done in time. So we've been trying essentially since like middle of February to get this product out now. And the actual pieces of coding that are missing are reasonably esoteric. The coding is in what we call the mini screen. If you know what the mini screen is, it's the special debugger screen that has all kinds of like neat stuff that you can do in there. People that don't do assembly language coding or could care less about the mini screen would never see these changes that we intend to make. But right now, for example, we can't do things like access things like, for example, the P-code memory. Most people would ask the following questions: A, what is the P-code? And B, like, why would you want to go to the memory? Well, the answer is like, yes, I do. And there are other things like, I want to be able to get to, say, for example, the MBX memory, right? So you can see what's going on inside there and things like that. So really, the product itself is actually right now, it's functional. It has been released. in a so-called beta test. There are 5 or 6 people that have beta copies of the code right now, and they've been hopefully beating on the code. Some have even complained about things, and that's the whole purpose of going into a beta test, is to find things that you can make the code better with, right? And so I'm stuck with a sort of a twofold dilemma here. I guess that's really what dilemmas are. Right? Anyway, I'm stuck with this dilemma, and the dilemma is the following. I could release this product virtually tomorrow, except that I'll be in Australia for 2 weeks, but that's not a matter. But when I get back to Australia, I could release the product within a week or so. I would notify all customers by standard procedure to you are the current owner of version X of the product, blah, blah, blah. Here's a new release and things like that. And I was also telling some people, we had some sales here this morning on the floor, and our policy, we think, is reasonably generous to customers. If you purchase the product from me within, say, 90 days, I will give you a free upgrade. And so it's probably, in fact, what we'll probably do is even people that purchase the product at the Lubbock, what was it called at Lubbock? That's a special name, it's like the one for all or whatever it is. Anyway, people that purchase the product at Lubbock will also probably get a free upgrade. I don't hold it to that. So, if I do this right, it may well be that this could be the last version of PC99 that you may ever see, because there really isn't, except for one large area, there really isn't like a lot left to actually emulate. Maybe 2 areas. One of them could be considered to be the speech, and the speech is just like really hard to do, and we haven't really made a lot of impact with that. And the other part that would be really nice to do, a lot of people ask for any columns, just get that done. We'd have to emulate the entire 9938/58 chip. So those are really sort of 2 big areas that could be added, right? The other option that I have is to issue what's called a dot release, or point release, and to be quite honest, that is actually reasonably expensive for me to do. It almost doesn't warrant it. And the reason is that you have to make all the upgrade disks, you have to write to all the customers again, it'll cost you like $50 just to do the mailing, you know what I mean? And none of that money is kind of recoverable. So I'm not trying to act like really cheap here, I'm just sort of saying it's like just money gone for nothing. So my question to the audience and those who actually own PC99 is, I need some like guidance and friendly advice here. Like, would you really like to see this new version? Because it has things like AMS card and some other. What else does it have? Oh, it was all written up.
The Meyer Rambus.
There's a Mike Rambus. So it has quite a lot of sort of good new features and things like that. So I could actually make this release if that's sort of what people like really want. I would say the penalty on my side is that you may never see another version, you may never see these upgrades. And if there was an upgrade, I guess it's going to cost some money. Maybe the long list is So do I have any feedback here? Search.
Well, I, for one, we're not buying it off there.
Well, yeah, see, no, you would normally be expected to pay for an upgrade. An upgrade would cost you like $9 or whatever. I think you charge $9.94.
To keep it going, I would really...
But the thing is, like, what I'm looking for now is how many people desperately need the features that Stage 5 offers, or do we really know what Stage 5 has to offer? I guess that's it. But I can give you a list of the features that we're doing right now. So think about that, and I'll bring up a list of these features, and we can sort of have a look and see what they are. And that's really where I am. It's just it's the time and the material thing and various other things like this. And then I would actually like to be able to sort of move on. I've spoken about this before. Some people think this is actually already existing code that's ready and running, like a compiler and stuff like that. I would really like to try and get my hands into this compiler. But it's just a question of if you're spending 2 weeks in Australia and you come back home, you have to catch up for a week. It's just really tough. I'm not trying to make excuses even. I'm just trying to tell you guys the state of the state. Okay. One of the most often asked questions on PC99 is, how do you get things from the 99 array that I already have, get them onto PC99 itself? Well, we offer a series of utilities, and these utilities essentially will read disks on the 99.4 side and transfer them to the PC as disks. I had a guy send me some email the other day, and this guy was sort of saying things like, well, I have a display fixed 80 file, and I have a DB 80 file, and I have a program file. How do you distinguish between these different files? It's really important to understand that the transfer utilities have no idea what they're transferring. They just see these blobs, these sectors out there, and they pick these sectors up and they throw them onto the PC side, and then the PC sees it as TI disks, right? So if you want to transfer, for example, a Pascal disk which uses 512 bytes per sector, if you want to transfer a fourth disk which uses a real strange arrangement of things, right? If you want to transfer a Plato disks which have hidden things all over them, or at least one sector. The transfer utilities do not know about this. The only thing the transfer utilities may not be able to do is to transfer a genuinely doctored disk. A disk that actually has things like, say, 2-sector 3s on track 0. And some people use these for protection. Which one? Yeah, SPAD 13 was a good example. And then Dan Iker, I sent an article off to sent an article off to Micropendium, showing them that we finally cracked this thing called, what was it called? Doom of Modular. Ever hear of this program, Doom of Modular? Run that. In the end, when you actually run the program, it's like, oh, you just cracked it, but this guy.
I don't remember, but I didn't think it was that good. I had one.
Yeah, that's right. But this guy who wrote the code, man, was he good. He was like so good. He did things that I didn't think it was possible to do, right? To give you one example, what he does is he takes a file, and he opens it as a basic file, but then he changes the sector pointer of the file to point to sector 1. And therefore, once he does that, he can open any sector by saying open pound 63. He'll actually read in the 63rd sector off the disk. And he uses this to go and get his own secret disk directories and replace them at the front of the disk. So when you first go to look at the disk, you see it's written a certain way, you say, okay, I can find what this stuff is. And 3 seconds later, after he's run the first little piece of basic program, everything's changed out from under you. So it's like self-modifying directories. This guy was like really close to it. It took weeks to do. So I told Ike not to send me any more disks, so I couldn't waste my life doing this stuff. But you get to a certain point where you've got to crack this guy, you've got to crack him through and stuff like that. Right. Let me get you...
what we need to do is we need to hook a big monitor to my laptop. So
here's the monitor. You know what, at the end, it's really long cable. One of the few things that digital ever did.
I'm gonna shut my laptop down. So. And if you put the big monitor on a chair, then they can see it.
A chair on the table?
Like maybe this one. Yeah. That is great. This is great. This long thing.
Oh, yeah, no one.
Turn my laptop back on. I have this set because I thought we were going to use my EG monitor over there. I have this set for 640 by 4, whatever. Mike has asked me to assist in this demonstration because he figured I know how to do this because I managed to get the whole Jim Peterson collection transferred.
Keys double checked on that monitor.
Oh, we can change some of this.
I mean, I could, well, going up to a higher resolution would change the size of the PC99 screen.
It's okay. Look at it. If you don't like this, look at his.
So, as Mike says, PC99 comes with a disk. This is my copy of the disk. I have my original at home. It has some utilities on it. And then there's a PC99 disk with the very same stuff. So...
That's how there's a screen. That's weird.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
What is the PC99?
He's using his backdrop for Win 95.
Yeah, it turns out that in Windows 95, taking a file and copying it on top of another file is not easy. So it's much easier to do it in DOS. I don't know, I hope the new version of Windows 95 lets you Windows 9 let you do
I
that.
had a customer call me like 3 days ago, and he was sort of saying, no, this doesn't work, I can't copy the files, can't do this, I can't do blah, blah, blah. Eventually sent me a listing of his 195 stuff, and he'd use 195 to copy it, so 195 puts in this thing sort of saying, copy of this disk. And what it actually does in DOS is it puts in all these stupid tildes. So when he was trying to access his disk, he was sort of saying, my disk name is Fred, but it was actually like Fred tilde 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 1, and so he couldn't find the disk, you know what I mean?
All right, so I've gone to the PC DOS, the MS-DOS prompt in Windows 95, and it says C/Windows. So I'll change directory to the root directory, and then CD to PC99, and then I'll CD once more to the DSK subdirectory. So I'm in PC99/DSK.
Keep all the disks down.
And then if I do a dir /w, that shows all the stuff. I didn't have to do the /w, but that shows all the files that are in there. Now there's a file called DSK1, another file called DSK2, another file called DSK3, another one called DSK4. Those are the files that represent your floppy disks and drives 1, 2, 3, and 4. And what you want to do is you want to take this disk and put it in PC99's drive 1. And this disk is called PC99.dsk. So I will say copy PC99.dsk space DSK1. And that will copy the file called PC99.dsk, which is this, into the file called DSK1, which is floppy drive 1 on PC99. So I'll overwrite, yes. Okay, now I got to put a blank formatted disk in drive 2. So a blank formatted disk is FMT21.dsk. That stands for 2 double-sided, 1 single density. And I can't use double density because I don't have a core count controller in here. So I'm going to copy FMT21.dsk into DSK2. Overwrite, yes. Okay, I just put in PC99, I just put a blank formatted disk into PC99's drive 2. So now I will start up PC99. Now we'll go back to my Windows desktop, EXIT. You can do this from the DOS prompt, I think, but I like to do it from Windows 99 because I got an icon here down at the bottom. So okay, and this particular setup, this goes to FunnelWeb directly. So from FunnelWeb, I can run the program that I need to run from DSK1.
I've got a question for you, Charlie. You're running PC99 out of Windows then? Out of Windows 95?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I always shut down Windows 95 and went to MDOS. I didn't know you could run it out.
That's the canned recommended method.
Oh.
Hey, whatever works.
I don't read the instructions. I just do.
The instructions say that you can run PC99 in Windows 95 as a DOS window.
As a DOS window, right.
So I am not violating the instructions, and besides that, it works, which is the most important thing.
That'd be a time saver. Yes.
So I'm going to go to disk review and bring up a directory of drive 1. Drive 1 being this disk, only on PC99. And I want to go down to the bottom. I want to run a file called W sector, which stands for right sector. And it's an EA5 file. So in FunnelWeb, I just press run, and then I press proceed, and then I like number 2, DPL mode. And so now I've started this right sector. On the 4A, you run a file called read sector. And essentially what's going to happen is the 4A is going to read all the sectors off of the disk you want to transfer, and PC99 is going to write all those sectors onto the disk that you want to transfer them to. So I'm going to run using the editor assembler here on the 4A. I'll load DSK1 WSEC. Oh, well, you're right. No, I'm right. That's right. Read sector. Yeah, you're right. DSK1 RSECTO1. And it says source disk drive 1, and that would be whatever disk you wanted to transfer. And I have a disk back here.
So the principle here is on 4A, you're going to go to the drive, you're going to read sectors from the drive, right? When you get to 32Ks worth of sectors, then you're going to ship those 32Ks worth of data over the serial port to the PC, which will grab it, and write out the same corresponding sectors on this side here.
This is Earl Raduzzi's theory of the dark, which is kind of fun to read. You actually want me to go through and... Mike suggested I should play with this disk on the 4A and like change something, and that would convince you that I really was transferring it to PC99. You want to take my word for it, or should I actually alter the disk in front of your very eyes?
I believe you look pretty truthful.
You think I'm honest? Okay.
Since I don't have a copy of the disk, you put it across there too, so that's good.
Well, so I'm going to put this disk in drive 2. I can put it in drive 1, but I'll put it in drive 2. So the source disk from the TI is drive 2. And the destination, and on PC99, the source up here, you see, it says source. That means it's coming in through the RS-232. And I didn't mean to do that.
That's
but
correct.
what the heck? I know, that's the correct procedure.
You read 32 sectors.
And the destination disk, I'm going to copy it to DSK2 on PC99. That's the disk that I put that formatted disk in. So I'll change from 1 to 2. And you'll notice that the numbers are counting down here and here. And what's happening is that it's sucking, the TI is sucking in 32 sectors at a time, sending it over to the RS-232 cable, and PC99 is writing 32 sectors at a time. And this is a single-sided, single-density disk. This is a 360K disk. So you'll see how long it takes to transfer a 360K disk.
Now, the important thing to remember here again is that this transfer utility has no idea of what data is actually transferred. It starts at sector 0 of the disk, reads for 30, the TI uses 256 bytes per sector. There are 32 sectors, there's 4 to 32, which is 8K. The 8K gets shipped across here, gets broken down here to run the first 32 sectors out. So essentially you are just cloning the disk sector by sector by sector by sector across here. So when this is done, the disk that's on this side here will be an exact copy of that disk. It doesn't know from multiplan, it doesn't know from DF128, it doesn't know from DB80, it doesn't know program files, it doesn't know from DB224, it doesn't know any of that stuff. It just knows that it has a disk here, that it believes that the data on this disk is the same as the data on this disk. And that's all that this stuff does. So,
I get the impression that you don't need to work on this drive anymore. You're running with the TI disk.
oh yeah, what happens is if you
This is a TI disk controller.
right.
Yeah, that's what I meant, disk control.
That's correct. What happens is if you have a TI disk controller, the limitation is that you can't do more than 720 sectors, which is double-sided single density. But if you have double-sided double density disks, then you need a controller that can handle that. But if all you ever had in your life on your TI system was a TI controller, and all your disks can be read by the TI controller, you don't need a core comp or anything like that. It has nothing to do with that. So all it does is it reads sectors until it reaches the end of the disk.
One other important bit of information. The magic cable is called a modem cable. I bought it at Walmart. It cost me $7. it said modem cable.
There is nothing special or magical about the cable. There are many myths. There are many myths on the TI side. One of them is, for example, the secrets of personal record keeping. In actual fact, TI published this information many, many years ago. So every now and then somebody rediscovers the secrets of personal record keeping. And the other thing is the magic of the modem, the magic of the cable to connect a 4A to the PC. If you go onto the list server, if you go onto ComSys TI, if you look at sometimes documentation, there'll be all these people that can tell you the secrets of how to connect a 4A and a PC together. The answer is you go down to your Walmart, MER Micro, CompUSA and say, good afternoon, I would like to purchase an AT modem cable for a PC, please. $7 to $10 later, you will have the cable in the front of your hand and walk out. The secret of the cable is that the cable is not reversed, right? If you wish to connect a TI to a TI, you have to invert the transmission and reception lines, right? But since IBM and TI didn't decide on how to name the equipment, TI hardwired their RS-232 port a certain way, and IBM did it the opposite way. So in fact, they are actually already reversed. So what you need is a straight-through cable, which is what the modem cable is.
Okay, I have transferred that disk and I have rebooted PC99 and you now are looking at FunnelWeb's show directory. And I'm going to give you a directory of the disk in drive 2, which is this theory of the dark disk that I transferred. So I'll just press 2 here and here's all the files. If I press V to view the README file, there's a letter by Earl telling us what's on the disk. And so I could like press. I'm just viewing from FunnelWeb's disk review. This is a text file.
So these are like the tabs on the TI-99.
Yeah, that's what that is. So I just transferred a 360K disk to PC99. Now, as Mike knows, I like to talk this up, and the advantage of me talking it up is that I have no financial or other personal interest in it, other than I think it's really cool. TIers have said for years, wouldn't it be great if I could take my huge collection of TI disks and store it on a hard drive? But SCSI cards are hard to get because the current version doesn't work, as I understand. And you can take all your TI disks and you can store them on your PC's hard drive and then archive them with a zip disk. And I took the entire Jim Peterson collection, 2 of those big boxes of disks, and put them unarchived on 1.5 zip disks. And you can get them back. Once you get them on your PC, you want to put them back on your 4A, you just do the reverse of what I just did. You run read sector on PC99, you run write sector onto 4A, and you can get them back again. So you can take your disk collection and you can store them on a hard drive. And take them off your hard drive and store them on zip disks or some other kind of portable storage format. And that's the dream of every TIer, to be able to do this. And you can do it.
I have another question.
Sure.
You're running a direct cable-to-cable here.
Yeah.
What if your 2 units are remote and you can't take them, and you have to physically carry them? Is that when you need a core count drive?
No, you never need a core count drive. Only time you need a core count or a Maya controller is you need to read better than 720K.
Okay. All right.
All the TI programs are just runnable the way they are.
We believe so, yes. As far as we know, touch wood, there is no known TI program that doesn't execute on PC99. The only exception may be term-8. So,
that would actually, that wouldn't really be limited to a core count or that. Yeah, it wouldn't read any derived, like if you had a 8-track modified TI.
The 80-track may not work because the emulation inside PC99, which understands the disk controller, may not let you do 80 tracks.
Oh, really?
It only knows like up to 40 tracks. In other words, if it receives a signal saying an 80 track, the emulation of the controller may actually return an error.
Oh, okay.
So,
Two things that I'm asked is when you first start up PC99, you don't have tunnel
yeah, you don't have to. You don't.
No, you can configure PC99 any way you want.
No, I'm saying if you want to transfer your very first file,
Yes, so
there's a program you have to run from MS-DOS.
Correct. Well, yeah.
To get their first, if you want to have FunnelWeb on it, like you have, you had to start somewhere. You didn't
Correct.
All right, what I did, in order to get directly to you saw me go directly to FunnelWeb. And for me to do that, I used a, what is essentially a sector editor. And I edited the first TI extended basic file where it says DSK1, I changed it to DSK5, which is my highest numbered emulated drive. And so extended basic, as soon as I hit extended basic, it went to DSK5 load, which loaded FunnelWeb. Now,
I think Tom would.
What I'm asking is, you got your system set up, you don't have anything on DSK1 at all.
Right.
Right? So there must be a DOS program you run to load the very first time.
When you buy a PC99, when you get delivered into your disk directory, you get delivered a disk called PC99.disk. On that disk are the read and write of your utilities, right? When you go to the foray the first time, if you run the editor assembler, and you type into the editor assembler command line, DSK1.R sector, it will load the program from here. Then what happens on the side here, you do the same thing, DSK1.W sector under the editor assembler. When that happens, if the transfer takes place, then you can transfer any disks after that. But they come delivered in that format. You don't have to run it at a funnel way.
No, I've done it before.
Right. Did you have a second question?
I've got a question.
So,
Maybe for the audience, you don't necessarily have to put a blank disk into DSK1.
that's absolutely true. That's just paranoid safety. And in fact, you're actually even more than correct, because it's actually not that necessary to be that paranoid. The reason is that since I'm going to override all the sectors, they're going to be overwritten anyway. So the answer is yes.
but, and having done this a number of times, I don't want to ever do it again. Since some of my disks are double-sided double density, if you try to copy a double-sided double density disk onto an emulated disk that is single-sided single density, it'll error out and you have to start all over again.
Oh, okay, single density.
It'll say not enough room on the disk to put this, so that's why I like to copy a fresh disk in, because just in case I screwed up somewhere along the
If
line.
doesn't have a port comp or a wire controller,
That would not be a problem. What I've just done is I've loaded the editor assembler into PC99, and from the editor assembler I can do EA5DS, whoops, uppercase, DSK1 period, right sector.
So he's loading this straight from the EA now.
So I just loaded that straight from the EA, which comes with PC99. So you don't have to use FunnelWeb to load this. I just have it set up so that it's easy to use FunnelWeb.
And also, for some reason, if you don't have an EA, for any reason you don't have an EA on the TI side, right, we'll allow you to load this out of extended basic as well. So extended basic. So,
I know people in the club that have null modems already.
yeah.
Is that just the same as your modem?
No, this is not a null modem. A null modem implies this.
Well, it's already set up. Are you going to use that?
If they already have a foray talking to the PC,
Yeah.
then you're in business.
Okay, then they don't have to do that.
No, a lot. Like a really good test, right? Is if you have, say, for example, I mean, the quickest and dirtiest way to do this is easy for me on PC side. If you have like terminal emulated 2, right? You can stick a TE2 in here, stick a TE2 in here. Then if you can type between the two of them, then you are actually talking on the right lines, don't you? Okay.
Okay, now you've got all 4 disks filled up. What do you do next?
You then copy DSK1, DSK2, DSK3, and DSK4 into other files for archival purposes.
Like Tom1.disk, Tom2.disk, Tom3.disk.
So you can transfer 4 disks in, and then you have to exit PC99 and go into DOS and copy DSK1 some other name, copy DSK2 some other name, and that saves the disks that you just loaded in.
Now that's a standard recommended way of doing it, right? If you didn't want to do that, then from within PC99 you can do a change disk and get it to point to somewhere else. But this other method works, and it works really well. You can transfer. I transferred like all the Play-Doh disks, right? So the Play-Doh disks originally came to like 111 megs on my hard drive. I compressed them down to like 34 megs, and we have a selection here where we can actually, inside the configuration program, if you compress it in the same way that we did it, then you can actually select your Play-Doh disks from a compressed file.
Did you ever verify that this doesn't work on a Geneve, the disk transfer thing?
I don't know.
No, it doesn't.
I don't have
It's been a
Geneve.
week trying.
I spent a day fussing around with it, and I finally, just as a last resort, I decided to go to, because I didn't have a 4A system set up at home. I decided to go to a 4A. You need a real 4A to do that disk transfer.
That's why I did one.
Well, the thing is, like, when it comes to a Geneve, right, I'm not the person, I have no idea what a Geneve does, how it works.
Well, I'm just glad to hear somebody else say they couldn't get it to work either.
But the thing is, like, in terms of the code things here, our code doesn't have anything. It's not like we're doing, like, we don't even do, we actually access a DSR, right? We access it, we pass the DSR, the pointer to the cab. The tab is 8K long, and we get the DSR to that. That's, you know, that 255 and stuff like that. That's not our code, right? That's coming out of the DSR. It's counting down stuff like that. That's not coming from us. That's coming from us. So the Geneve is supposed to do that. If it doesn't do that, then that could.
Well, it's the Geneve's fault, but people need to know that you really do have to have a 4A in order to do this disk transfer.
Right. The other thing is that we also offer what we believe nominal charges.
It's a little frustrating.
We will copy disks for you. If you send us a couple of 4A disks, or in one case the guy sent me 100 4A disks, right? He got them back the next day because I was up to like 3 in the morning copying these suckers. But he got them back the next day because, you know, for like 25 cents a disk we'll do the copy. We think it's not, but believe me, 25 cents a disk is almost worth it. It's not, certainly not economic to do it for 25 cents a disk. Okay. I wanted to raise a second topic, which is kind of almost revolutionary, and that has to do with the source code. It came to my attention the other day that there's a certain large company on the PC side that makes a lot of software and actually owns the operating system for most of the PC side. And they have a certain way of developing code and things like that. And then there were other companies that were competitors to this company, and they wanted to try and butt heads with them, but didn't get too far. Now, this article went on to describe 2 methods of developing source code. And one of them is the method that we currently use now. And also it's the method which most companies that develop software will actually use. And what happens in this case is that you have a moderately long time between releases. You have a small number of people who have access to the source code, and the company or the people producing the code will be responsible for things like bug fixes or, you know, giving information to customers on how things work out. The other model is to simply release the source code. Okay? And this has been done, like example, even in the TI world, this was done, like example, in MDOS, I believe, right? MDOS was essentially released or given out for a certain fee, but for you know, a relatively small amount of dollars, you could have access to the code. And then various people from all over the place started to work on the code, but the deal was that essentially only one person or one group essentially kept control of the actual code. So if you wanted to buy a new version of MDOS or get a new version of MDOS or an update or whatever it was, you went to this one source who was then responsible for accepting all possible changes to the code and upgrading it, updating the code and things like that. Now, does this make sense what I'm saying here, guys? Okay. We have talked among ourselves of the possibility of releasing the PC99 source code for anybody who wants to see it. If you had to see the source code, you could then actually compile and make your PC99 yourself. You could also go through it and add changes and make improvements. And if those changes and improvements were funneled back to sort of one place, then those changes and improvements could be made to the product, and releases would happen very quickly. As soon as, say for example, somebody made a change, and the change was like really cool, you would put it up on the website somewhere or put it up on the internet somewhere, and you could have access to the new code. So what you have here on the one side is you have the sort of the sedate model, where things are sort of hopefully controlled to a certain degree and kept like at certain standards and how things should get done. Then you have this other sort of like dynamic version, right? And really what this contrasts Netscape versus, say, for example, Microsoft Internet Explorer. Now the theory on the dynamic side is that you pick up all these free, willing, young chirp programmers who are just dying to rip into this code and really make it efficient and do things and add stuff to it, right? On the other hand, the risk is that you actually have people that don't really know what they're doing and start screwing things up. So, but theoretically, if you have the control and you accept stuff back in and see how things go, you should be able to smooth things out. Now, does this have any interest at all to anybody here?
Just before you do that, would you check your pen and make sure it's not upside down?
Oh, the second starts it isn't closed.
Yeah. Sure.
Thanks. Sit down, move it down. Let's go to the washing. So does this have any interest to anybody in sort of terms of like looking at this code or anything like that? Now there's a difference between, oh yeah, I'd really like to see the code, I'd like to see how these guys do some stuff, right? And the difference between, yeah, I need to get my hands on the code because, hey, I really need speech. I'm going to take this code, I'm going to make speech work. Now, if you want to do something like that, then we can maybe come to some kind of arrangement. So,
I think the big problem is you're going to end up with poor code. Somebody's going to look like it improves and without a lot of testing and make a product that no longer does what you say it does.
Yeah, see, there's a trade-off here. So if anybody, if you want to write this up or do something like that and see what people have to say, I'm open to the idea, I'll put it that way. You know? So if it doesn't have any interest, then it's also okay. I don't care. Okay?
As long as you keep interested.
Well,
Yeah, you need to go back with
that would be part of the whole thing. Theoretically, my problem right now, as I'm trying to explain about this release for Stage 5, Stage 5 is currently being held up because one person involved in the project isn't able to get the stuff done in the time that we would like to get it done in. So as a result, everybody who uses this product, there's a lot of people that do now, right? Everybody who uses this product essentially is suffering. And they're suffering essentially because, not because this person's lazy or not smart or can't figure out how to do it, it's just a question of getting the time to do this stuff. And he's working like 14, 18 hours a day. In fact, he's actually wrecking himself, but that's another matter. So I'm trying to overcome and find a better way of solving this problem. I would dearly love to sort of find somebody who would like to come into the pain of doing this, even if they wanted to come in under the standard development thing. If somebody sort of said, I'd never like to be a PC99 developer, we are not askance at looking at people who want to do this, right? However, there is quite a large cost involved, and most people don't appreciate this, right? Theoretically, you have to own a copy of the Whatcom 11.0C compiler, right? So the list price of the compiler is $495, okay? You have to own a copy of a library called FastDraft, which is the thing we use to put characters on the screen and things like that. The official list price of FastDraft is like $395, right? Then we also use like the sound loss to develop the lives for some parts of the stuff in config, which I kind of not even, those are like about $100 per live, right? And the worst part of all is we have to spend like $500 again to buy a copy of the thing called the Greenleaf COM libraries, which is the thing that actually lets us work at all. Because I have no idea how to write assembly code of PC to talk to a serial port. My way out of that is to go and buy a library, and I just call the library functions, and I hope the hell they work. And in this case, Greenleaf, they did. They didn't work in one case, which was the case with the microchannel machines, right? We found a bug in their code, and their answer was, oh, you have to send us $250 for the upgrade. And I said, excuse me, I just spent like $495 for this package, it doesn't work. So they gave us a special, half-off deal to get the upgrade so that it works. This is like, kind of sucks, but still. So, you are looking, if you want to be a developer, you're looking at maybe between $1,200 and $1,500 worth of code that you need to actually have installed on your PC before you can actually take this stuff and actually compile it and make it run at all. Okay?
You just answered your own question.
Well, you know, there are some mad people out here. I mean, somebody bought from Larry Connor today one of those data box Oscar scanners, you know. So there are some strange people around here. All right. So we need to head the video again, Ben.
All right.
I've got a comment. On the laptop, which I only have, the viewing of it's smaller, and if we go to higher resolutions on laptop, I don't know, is my picture going to keep shrinking? What would the
A lot of
that be that
a lot of this depends on your laptop manufacturer, okay? My old laptop, which I happen to have here with me, if I bring PC99 up in like, in this, I don't know what you would call it, like laptop mode, what happens is it'll come up and it'll be sort of, for example, offset to the top left of the screen, okay? My laptop manufacturer lets me hit a key like function F, so that you have to press the FN key, like FN F6 or something like that, and then what happens is it puts the thing like in the middle and makes it the correct size and stuff like that. So a lot of the laptops up with liquid crystal screens, I'm not sure if it depends on whether the thing is dual scan or whether it's the active matrix stuff or not. I don't think that makes too much difference, but it depends on the manufacturer of the laptop, I think.
Would there be any possibility of releasing a version for a higher resolution? Would there be a lot of work in changing that?
Yeah, there would be a lot of work, because the thing is like, you need to run like, say, for example, that like 1024 by 768, for example.
Yeah, I think they've got.
There would be a lot of work there, because a lot of the calculations are based on like, you know, pixel counts and things across and things like that. The answer to the problem, right, is to actually develop a Java version of the thing. And what happens, you're scalable to whatever the hardware stuff does. Now, do we have the resources to do a Java version? We do. Do we want to do the Java version? We probably would like to. Will we ever get it done in reality? I don't think so. It's just
Wouldn't the version native under Windows 95 also be adjusted?
yeah, but the thing is, like, to run it in Windows 95, they're going to recompile all the code into Windows 95 and et cetera, I have to get Windows 95 drivers, so the thing I've got to go to change the whole line. It's a huge amount of work done.
Slower too.
And could be slow, yeah.
Just a personal feeling, if you didn't release the AMS version and you waited, and I can live with that, I think I can live with it until you get the 80-column version.
Oh, you want the 80-column version?
I think a lot of people, from what I read, list for want 80 columns.
80 column, what's the two most asked things, a speech and 80 columns?
I go for 80 column before speech. And being one of your beta, everybody knows since I wrote the Micropendium article, and I might add, I would not have written that article if I had realized that the release was going to be delayed as much as it has been. I thought it was like going to come out soon.
Well, technically the release is not delayed because the date was just...
Right, I understand. You started me out by saying, we want to get this checked out quick.
We do.
And anyway, I share the sentiments of the previous speaker. I had my brothers, I'd like 80 columns. And the new features of version 5 are nice, but 80 column would be much, much nicer.
Okay, this is sort of show you that this is not really pie in the sky. These are the actual source files for the actual release notes, right? So I'm just going to read these to you, because you probably won't be able to see them from back there. Okay. PC99 Stage 5. These are the things that it includes. I can demonstrate any one of these features probably to you like right now because they're all working. It includes the MyOC 512K card. Okay. So what does that give me? It gives me access to the MyOC RAM disk and all the other software that came with the MyOC card. So you can do things like call S, well actually I rewritten to call SPPI myself, but you can set up a RAM disk, right, and you can actually, PC99 will actually take the RAM disk and save it as a disk file when it exits. And when you restart the PC99, you have it'll read in that RAM disk file again to where it was. So if you do a call part 384, 128, 64, whatever the number is, then what happens is all that information and anything you stored in the RAM disk will be saved when it comes back up again, which is like really cool. You can also just destroy the RAM disk if you don't care about it, right? Now that means that you can actually have 4, if you use a microcontroller, which is emulated here, you can then have 4 real disks, right? And then a RAM disk is disk 5, disk 5, right?
That's the way I have mine set up. That's where that funnel appeared.
Oh, okay. Cool. So things like, for example, call part, you know what call EMDK does? It tells you which disk to emulate. Call vol is the thing which calls, shows you the name of the RAM disk. All of these features in the Mike RAM disk are included in the product, right? In addition, we give you an Adobe Acrobat PDF file which has the complete Myoc software description of the card, plus the hardware description, which is a bit bizarre, but there's some information in there as well. So the 2 manuals that came with the Myoc does come with this product as well. In addition, we'll give you a copy of the Myoc Extended, is it called Extended Basic 2? Myoc, I guess it is, that Myoc Extended Basic 2, what does it say here? Myoc Extended Basic 2. Lou Phillips has allowed us to give away this code. We have permission from him by Dr. Eric Wright, and who we would like to extend our grateful thanks for. And we will give you a copy of Myoc Extended Basic 2. So, here's an important emulated question. If Myoc Extended Basic 2 has bugs running on the 4A, what will happen over here? Yes, you understand, guys, at last. The same thing will happen, we hope, right? You'll have the same bugs. There's no magic here, right? It's just going to fail the way it is. Okay, so that's each guys. So we'll give you the XP2 and we'll give you the manual for the XP2 well, which is like a real sod to scan in and fix. And there were errors like all over the place. There were errors all over the place in the manual, which we fixed over here. Now what we do is all the documentation we give out, if you find an error, right, we'll correct the error and then give it to everybody else as well. So you get a Myoc 512K card. The other thing you'll get here from us, you'll get an AMS, I want to say ASCO, that's wrong, an Advanced Memory System card. The AMS card, you can configure PC99 to 1 megabyte of AMS memory. So if you're an AMS user and know how to use this thing, which is like totally beyond me, then you can use this. You can tell PC99 that you have an AMS card, put the card in the slot it up if you have an AMS card. So all the advantages of people that write these huge complicated programs that run under AMS, you can have advantages. Like the only 2 that I know that we use for test are the Bruce Harrison's cards, right? Bruce Harrison's programs, the ones that do the video titler and what's the other called? AMS slideshow. So you can install like just 100. Well,
I'm wondering if his MIDI master update would run.
You said it's cables or something? Or what do you need?
You need the physical MIDI master 99.
Okay.
Which I think is something that's plugged into the serial port.
No, an adapter plugs in.
All right. Now, one of the nicest things between the PC and the 4A is, right? Not very many things, but one of the nicest things is that the PCs always came with a real-time clock. And the 4A didn't, right? So you always had to go off and like clue this clock thing and buy a Qualcomm clock or buy a RAID 99. The RAID 99 clock? I don't know, somebody made clocks. MVP, what is it named? Somebody like that. All these people that make clocks. They're all different and stuff like that. So what we've done is, this is something that we've tried to describe to people over the years, but I guess people either don't understand it or don't have any interest in this, but it is possible to design a card for PC99 to use, right? Because, as you know, there are no real cards here, right? So a card is just a DOS file with some stuff in it, right? So we have actually gone off and designed a card, which we call the PC99 card. And inside this card there is a clock, okay? Now you can do from basic, you can say call clock, and you will be returned the clock value that this card thinks is running as a piece of hardware. What the code actually does is it goes off when it sees this information, it goes to the PC and says, give me the time of day clock from the PC, stashes it into these registers on the card, right? And then the basic application sees this and it gets passed this information. So you now have a real-time clock that you can put in. This clock is compatible with the Qualcomm clock. It returns the stuff in the same format. So you do like open number 1 clock input $A, B, C, right? If you do print $A, B, C, you'll see the time, the date, and things like that. Is the clock year 2000 compliant? Is the Qualcomm clock year 2000 compliant? There's your answer, right? I don't know. I mean, I could make the 2000 compliant like that by just adding 2 bytes. Okay. The other thing that we have inside here now is we have what's called data biotics bank switching. Now, you know that, for example, in the 4A, the extended basic module, right, uses bank switching. Everybody should all understand or know about that at least, right? Other people, there was this guy called Edgar Doman. He was like a really, really smart guy for his time. Probably still is. But Doman invented this thing called the magic memory. There was another name for it. It was the TI workshop. There was another name for this thing. And inside this module that Doman had, technically modules are limited to 8K, right? Instead of basic cheats with a 12K bank switching, right? Well, Doman said, to hell with that, I'm putting in a 64K module. And he had this 64K module called TI Workshop. And it uses special bank switching techniques, right? So if we see one of these modules, we see one of these data biotics modules, we will then bank switch according to that module. So you can now run things like TI Workshop on here. If you really have a need to do that, that's also available on the stage 5, right? Okay. Now there was this very popular guy called Gary Bowser, friend of the TI community, many people know. And Bowser actually produced some really interesting products for the 4A, right? Produced them. Didn't always sell them or support them so well, but that's okay. Well, it turns out that we managed to contact Bowser in Canada, and he actually replied to us by email, and we've been sworn under a veil of secrecy. If we ever reveal his email, we have to commit harakiri immediately. But Bowser allows us now to use what's called the OPA, Oasis Pensis Abacutus, and the product that he produced was called Son of a Board. Some people refer to him as Son of a Board as well, but that's another thing. And these ROMs inside here give you special access to things on the 4A, like you can do a disk directly from the startup screen there. I can show you this OPA. So we give you, with stage 5, we give you the OPA SOBs. OPA Son of a Boards, ROMs. They come with it as well. I don't know where this came from, but it turned out that somebody was desperately trying to write protect a disk of the PC99. There was some program that needed to have the disk write protected, and they couldn't do this. In fact, you couldn't do it. You could not write protect the disk. So this program wouldn't run properly, right? So we now allow you to set what we call the disk read-write flags. If you set the read-write flags, you can actually now have the same capability of taking that piece of black or silvery stuff and sticking it over the disk. You can do this with PC99. Now we'll even go one further than that now, right? If you tell DOS that this file is a write-protected file, we can't write to that file either. We will give you a different error message if you try to write to the file. So you can have the read-write flag set to do stuff like that. Okay, third most often asked question about PC99. Why is the screen to the left? Anybody who saw Charles doing his stuff here just now had the answer. The screen is to the left because that's all the number of pixels it requires. And we figured that why just put the thing in the middle, because what a waste of like 64 pixels. So then we figured out we could use these 64 pixels for something else. So we tend to put it like these overlay things on the right hand side. Some people like them, some people don't like them. However, because PC99 uses a certain mode of DOS to drive the video, that if you look, say for example, go to TI Artist, you'll find that the thing draws a oblong, an ellipse for a circle. Okay? So we now have this option called the correct aspect ratio, which takes twice as long to draw the screen, but it draws the screen more truly. So now if you really, really have to see circles on the screen, you can see circles on the screen. Aspect ratio. You're also allowed to now simply say to a peripheral, you are of type none. And what that means is that you don't exist. So for example, you can take, if you don't want to have an RS-232 card in your P-box, you can just flag the RS-232 peripheral as type none, and then it will never be found by PC99. No code will be loaded to handle it, and various other things like that. It's just wrong. So some people want to have like a very small TR runtime running at a time here. The very last thing I have here, please don't listen on the screen. The very last thing you can do is if you are a GPL programmer, as most of us are, then what happens is in PC99 you can set it up to sort of say, hey, every time a GPL instruction gets executed, I want to be notified of that. And it will show you when the GPL instruction gets executed. So some people find this a real turn on, but most people care less about it. Okay? That's all the time I've got, guys. I'm sitting at my table at the back there. If you want to see any of these features, I'll be happy to show them to you. If you have any questions, please fire away while we take the equipment down and we'll try and answer them the best we can. Thank you.
Rounds and rams you're talking about, are these battery backed or
this, they don't require very much action. This is...
What, the SOBs?
You don't know about RAM.
No, the RAM disk it's just a piece of memory that gets allocated.
It's just a file on your hard drive. If you under PC99 install the MyArc RAM disk and put some files on it, and then you uninstall the MyArc RAM disk and put the AMS card in and play with that for a while, and then you reinstall the MyArc RAM disk, your files are still there.
That's the other thing. Turn it off, PSP wants
Which is not the way the MyArc RAM disk works in real life. So it's an imperfect emulation here.